This programme is proudly sponsored by BYD, the #1 electric vehicle in the world and the fastest growing brand in the UK car market. BYD and Super League Raw, building our dreams together. And the home of Super League Raw, the Bluebell in Warrington. Make this your pre- and post-game destination for the best food and drink in town. So it's Tuesday night, it's 8 p.m. It's only one thing that you can be doing at this time on a Tuesday. Super League Raw Weekly. As always, the boys are in the house for another night of debate and merriment. Good evening, Mr. Sale. You well?
Very well. I hope everyone out there as well.
Indeed. Mr. Nixon, good evening.
Very well, and same to everybody else out there.
And, of course, Mr. Scholes.
Good evening, Sir Kane.
No less. Yes, another night of fun and frolic. We've got an interview with Bevan French coming up for you, ladies and gentlemen. We've also got, of course, a deep dive look into the Catalans Dragons, Wakefield Trinity, and the Be the Warriors. That's right, Leigh Leopards is on the menu this evening. We're also going to be announcing some new competitions. Of course, the members are ahead on this one, but again, tonight, keep your ears peeled. We've got some very good competitions on the way as part of tonight's show. We have got no time, really, to dilly-dally. But before we get into hanging and banging, Oldham, Bill Quinn, has been out this evening on social media. He's done a statement. If you haven't heard it, then get over to Oldham's one of their social media feeds. Ultimately, he's stepping aside, staying with the club, making sure the club's running efficiently, but he's going to take on Oldham Athletic in the courts. And there's nothing to fear where the winding up order is concerned. That is tickety-boo. Myself and Craig Lingard talking all things Oldham tomorrow as part of Rugby League, or the Championship Rugby League with Craig Lingard. That'll be tomorrow night again at 7 p.m. If you haven't caught that yet, do go over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, ring the bell, hype it up so you never miss a show. But Craig's new show, Rugby League, Championship Rugby League with Craig Lingard, doing really, really well. And me and Craig will deep dive into that tomorrow for you. But boys, Championship Rugby League with Craig, that's been a good addition. Mr. Scholes, I'll let you go first on that. It's great to hear Mr. Lingard's thoughts on all things Championship.
Extremely good. You know, to have somebody who's in there within the sport very heavily, who's the head coach, I think is absolutely key. And it's a very rare opportunity. Not many to, if any, other platforms get that chance. And when you build the bonds and friendships that you do within the sport of rugby league, and you get these opportunities, you've got to take them with both hands. And having someone like Craig's insight, I think, is invaluable. And it doesn't just help it helps us as Super League Raw. It helps massively the fans that are listening.
Yeah, I mean, and again, apologies from us. We haven't really covered Championship. We've glossed over it a little bit at the back end of the season for the last few years, but this year we're doing it proper. We've got a dedicated show with Craig, and of course the Nixon Report. That's going to be back as well. Greg, you're back in the fold this week. Some moving and shaking. We won't spoil it for people now, but the Nixon Report does return with you this week.
Yes, it does. And looking at the new structure, which I won't give spoilers to, the new structure of Super League, how the grand final will be decided, and how one down's decided in the new Women's Super League this season. So, yeah, some changes that I think a lot of teams have been asking for in the past are finally being brought in. So,
Keep your eyes
should
peeled.
be good. Should be good.
Yeah, that'll be being uploaded. Keep your eyes peeled. The Nixon Report will be coming. That'll ramp up as the Women's Super League kicks in. But as we've got news, Greg will slide straight into first gear. And Mr. Sale, rumours has it, Bet Steph's back in 2026. We'll have to hold our water for that one. But you were very impressed with our newest edition, which was Super League Royal Ladies Tackle Talk. A couple of balloons on social media, being a bit chauvinistic. We won't give them much credibility. But for me, the girls did a really good first episode, and looking forward to that in the future, mate.
Great, and obviously we know the members quite well, but it's great that they've got their opportunity now to introduce themselves to the wider Super League Raw listening audience, and I think they did a fantastic job. There's no other podcast out there like it. Steph did a fantastic job being the Dave to that team, and no, it was a really interesting listen. And as they settle in, they get better and better, and it could put the final hoots under threat in terms of viewers, I think, on that one. So we'll have to see on that one. Maybe a bit of inter Super League Raw rivalry on that front.
I already told them a question of Rugby League, Hooter against Tackle Talk. That's coming at the end of the season. Good evening to a few of the people in the chat. Craig Forth is with us. Royalty as always. Matt Timsey's with us. Jill, all the way from Canada. Of course, she was on the podcast last night. Fantastic and great contribution as well. Our Canadian Wigan Warriors fan. Fantastic stuff from them. Carl Gibson's with us. Paul White. Nigel Woods with us. Greg Roach. Fantastic. The grandfather of Super League Raw is with us. Plenty there. Good evening, Mr. Roach. He'll give me plenty back in the chat, and keep your comments coming. Good to see the chat's working this week. The super chat is open. If you want to buy a beer, feel free to do so. But yeah, let's get cracking. Let's get into it. Here we go. Banging or hanging? Yes, time for a bit of hanging, banging, whatever you want to say. Greg, will kick off with you. Steve McNamara has ruled himself out of taking charge of England at the World Cup at the end of the season. Banging or hanging, sir?
But I think banging. He's been there. He did a good job. He's now, he turned Catalans around. He's now going to concentrate on his future at Warrington, which, depending on which way the team performs this season, he might very well see himself as head coach, if not this season, certainly next season. So, yeah, I think it's banging for Warrington especially. I think fresh ideas is needed at international level.
Ryan Hicks calling us sexy lads. I think you need to go to Specsavers, mate. Whoa, steady on. I don't know what you're watching. Maybe you've got two screens on. I don't know. Somebody in the chat saying, shut up and get Bevan on. You're going to have to wait, mate. Carry on like that, you'll go. Anyway, moving swiftly on, have to be patient in life, my friend. You know what I mean? Deary me. Shocking effort. Anyway, let's get a bit of fun. Let's go to Mr. Challenge Cup, Mr. Sale. Both Widnes and Leeds and Bradford against London are airing this weekend, Mr. Sale. Two good games, that in a third round of a Challenge Cup. Will you be watching?
Well, yeah, I think they'll be really interesting.
That's fantastic news. Right, let's move on to Joel's goals. Shall we? Lewis Martin scored a hat-trick. For those who watched last week and the week before, you know I've just done that. Lewis Martin, hat-trick versus Wigan, Joel. He hates me for that, doesn't he? At the weekend, Lewis Martin, good to see him already finding the try line. I know it was only a friendly, but he should have real hopes of going to the World Cup at the end of the season. Good to see Lewis in form. Would you agree? Would you say it's banging to see Lewis Martin getting a hat-trick in that game against Wigan at the weekend?
Well, I think the question is, do we expect anything different from him? He was so good last year that he was that incredible. He just knew where the try line was, and we would expect nothing less of him this season, and if not more. So absolutely banging. Well done, Lewis, and we're really enjoying. Looking forward to you coming playing grounds this year.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Lewis Martin and, of course, Harvey Barron as well, it must be said. Greg, Jared O'Connor staying on at the Rhinos till 2028. That's good business for the Rhinos, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely banging for the Rhinos. he can only, he can only improve, and if he's going to settle side and maybe they look at building a team around him, maybe. I think that's banging.
Fantastic stuff. Wonderful. Well, let's get Steph back on. Robbie Mulhern, Steph. It's not been officially announced this, but I think it's done and dusted, isn't it? Castleford 3 years from 2027. This is going to be interesting. Banging or hanging? Which way are you going? Over to you.
It's Robbie's been a great servant at Leigh, obviously one of the only a few remaining members of the Challenge Cup winning side now at Leigh. There's been quite a turnover. He's had a few injury issues recently, so hopefully he can overcome them and have a really good season with Leigh. That's what I'm hoping for. But no matter what, and if he does go to Cass, he'll go with all our best. He's been a great servant at Leigh, and if we hold on to him, happy days. But there's no smoke without fire, and if he can get a great deal at Castle, it's rumoured to be a 3-year contract. I don't think Leigh would have offered him a 3-year deal. So it's banging for Robbie as a person, and I'm really pleased. And he'll get to link up with Chris Chester, I know he was really fond of when he was at Leigh as well. So there's obviously that link there for him. So for Leigh fans, it's sad and it's a bit hanging. But for Robbie in his final stages of his career, it's banging for him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And also, rumours not confirmed that Lewis Martin has signed an extension at Hull FC. That's probably going to come out in the next.
I thought that had been confirmed 5 years.
I haven't seen it. Has it been confirmed?
It's been confirmed.
Apologies. Okay, well, that's good. Happy days. And I think they need to get Barron signed up as well. Would be my take on that one. Right, Joel, Jack Bird, you're NRL. Jack Bird signing for the Leeds Rhinos. Of course, Max Simpson, we said about Max last week, a travesty that for Simpson. But you're a 30-year-old veteran of the NRL, 173 NRL appearances, back row up, can play a bit of centre as well. So quite versatile, a 2016 grand final winner as well. Good business this for the Rhinos, do you think, Joel?
Very good business. And for those who don't watch NRL, go and watch his highlights. Very, very good player. He's one of them players where he's not really been littered with too many injuries over his career. And that's a really good thing for Leeds, because that's what's one thing they've really struggled with. Very good defensive player, but also knows how to push the ball hard too. So you've got a really, really astute player there, and I think that's only going to help Leeds' bid for going back towards the top again.
Yeah, no, good business that. I think nobody would argue with that one. Well done, banging stuff there for the Rhinos. Greg, the Perth Bears, this one caught me eye this week. Eyeing up home games in Singapore to expand their brand, because the time difference isn't that much different to City, in terms of Perth to the travelling teams, whether they go to Perth, go to Singapore. NRL breaking new ground again, banging or hanging?
Banging. It's only me a skip across the pond for Perth to get to Singapore. It's only like us going. I don't think it's as far as us going to Vegas. So I'm not got a geography degree, so don't test me on that one. But yeah, going back to the question, I think it's a great idea to get more eyes on the sport. There are certain markets around the world that would be ripe for rugby league to get into to expand the sport. And that part of the world would be one of them. They've got the C word, which I can't say because I get cut off on certain parts of that subcontinent, and then you got the F word, infiltration Australia and other places like that. So before the world gets shut off to any more expansion of sports like rugby league, let's get in there and let's get the sport. Let's get eyes on the sport. Let's convert people, and I think that's banging. If I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that. And Steph, on the same topic, the rumours are persisting still that I think it's Wigan and Warrington again, really keen on taking Super League to Dublin next year. Banging and hanging.
I think that's banging. It's obviously not as expensive as going to Las Vegas, but just as glamorous. Dublin's a great city, isn't it? If you've never been, it is really good. And obviously they've got some good stadiums there. If it was at Croke Park, for example, that'd be amazing. Whether that's too big for it, I don't know. But yeah, any games that are feature games like that as one-offs, I think could be really good. And obviously the Premier League's massive in Ireland. If we can tap into something like that and get fans supporting clubs and flying over for games into Liverpool or Manchester, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it? So yeah, banging for me, that one.
Yeah, Joel's favourite team, the Casford Tigers, expect to be a sellout for round 1. Banging and hanging, Joel.
Yeah, great, brilliant. It's what they need. It's the ground that people don't like to go to because of the fans and how big they are on you. They're just right on top of you all the time, and to have a sellout at Cas, that'll be incredible scenes.
Absolutely. You know, they might be able to lift them above Bradford.
They may just.
If you've been watching us since the start of the season, you'll get that one as well. Greg, Saints sold out their allocation for round 1 at the wire. Getting extra tickets now.
Yeah. I mean, it's great, as Joel's saying. If we can get round 1 as a complete sellout in every ground, that'll be fantastic for the sport. And you know, the rumours that it's a dying sport clearly haven't come to fruition so far. I think it's great. You know, that is going to be a banging atmosphere. It's always a great game. Saints Warrington. You know, Warrington looking to extend that record of wins against Saints over the past few years. I think Saints might have a few things to say about that this time around, but I think it's absolutely banging. And the more the more games we can sell out in round 1 is absolutely fantastic as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, let's hope that the attendances continue to rise this year after an unprecedented improvement last year. Back to Mr. Sale, Midnight Feast for us all, as Hull KR will take on Leeds in Vegas. Midnight is the time. Will you be staying up with your hot cocoa and popcorn for that one, Steph?
100%. I can't wait for it. Really enjoyed the Wigan Warrington game, probably a bit more than you guys did last year. But yeah, I'll be definitely tuning in, as I'm sure most of the Super League fans will be. What will be another hopefully spectacular occasion.
Another spectacular occasion, no less. Greg, I'll jump back to you on this one. It's only appropriate. Bradford Bulls delighted to announce that Amy Hardcastle is going to be the women's development manager. That's a good move for the Bulls, isn't it?
Absolutely fantastic. She's a trailblazer of the women's sport. Been a fantastic player. You know, her daughter plays for Dewsbury Rams. She's a good player as well. I mean, the more women we can get into, more women players we can get involved in that side of things, who can spot talent, who can develop the game, I'm all for that. So that's banging. And great for Amy as well. She's been a great player, clearly, obviously coming to the end of her career now. But she's been a phenomenal player in a time. You know, my daughter's faced her at Headingley when she played for Warrington. It's not the greatest experience on the planet. She's been a great player as Amy, and I'm made up that you know there's a future, that there's still a future in rugby league for her. It's great.
Absolutely, couldn't agree with you more. Right, so that's pretty much everything. Anybody else seen anything else that we could do banging and hanging on, or is that pretty comprehensive for the week that was?
There was a chat, just a chat with the Hull KR CEO today, who's talking about, you know, the future of where the game's going to be shown on TV in the future. Talking about TNT, because they've lost the rights to European football, and Paramount are apparently sniffing around the sport as well. So that can only be good. And also thinking that there might be interest from the Middle East in investing in the sport, and calling on the NRL, to kind of show the hand and see whether they're going to be investing in our sport or not over the next few years. How, you know, whether that's just him, you know, weighing up the options or whatever, or where he's got a steer on that, I don't know. But it was an interesting conversation and an interesting read to look at where the options are for the future of the sport in the next few years.
Well, one thing's for certain, as the season goes on, more and more about that broadcast deal will be being discussed as those discussions continue to be ongoing. I know that Steve Mascord, one of the journalists this week, dropped the grenade that he believes that Sky will not bid. So
that's the rumour.
That'll send shockwaves through the Rugby Football League, because they'll have to negotiate, and it's but hey, that's the whole point of this new consortium. That's it. They're ready for it. You know, we've heard plenty said in terms of that. I think a couple of the chairman are pretty relaxed about it at this moment in time, but it's going to be very, very good indeed. Really good. I don't know. Put rugby on, Dave. I don't. This bobber's all over the chat at the moment. I'm not quite sure what that one means, but anyway, good evening to you. First time I've seen you. You're clearly here for Bevan. Hopefully you enjoy the show and come back again next week. Keep smiling. We do. Right, okie dokie. So yeah, let's give this a plug. Only 2 weeks away. 2 weeks tomorrow. If you're rugby league supporters in the northwest of England or further afield, like I said to you last week, you've got the opportunity of doing something very special indeed for a very special young little man. And Steve McNamara will be there.
Hi, Steve McNamara. Join us on February the 18th at the Bluebell Warrington for a great.
So there you go. There's Steve giving a little promo for Action for Alfie, the fundraiser Alfie's wish list that's coming to the Bluebell on the 18th of February. Tickets on sale now on our website, www.superleagueraw.com. Little Alfie, an absolute little Trojan horse, he really is. Living with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. We are supporting the family. Alfie's wish list was born on Super League Raw last year, and all money, all proceeds will allow that little man to make lasting memories with his parents and his sister that will last a lifetime. So please, if you are in the northwest of England on the 18th of February, it's half-term, kids are welcome as well. £12.50 a ticket. You're getting fed. You're going to have a hot pot supper. We've got Danny Walker, Steve McNamara, George Whitby, George Flanagan, and more to be announced as well next week. So we're going to have plenty more to announce next week. Please do come to this. It's almost a Bob Geldof playing Live Aid all those years ago, if you remember that, where enough's enough. It's time to buy your tickets, folks, and we need you to buy your tickets. This is something that you can all do. It's a small thing, but will make a massive difference to that family, so they can go and make lovely memories with that incredible little boy. So please. And if you can't come, then just buy a ticket anyway. £12.50, and all proceeds will go to the family, and you will play your part in that family being able to make those memories. That's what rugby league people do. I have to say as well, I noticed this week, Wigan Warriors, they announced their new charity partner, which happened to be Derayan House in Chorley, a hospice. And that is a place that young Alfie frequents and his family. They get a lot of support from that. So well done to the Wigan Warriors, a really worthwhile charity. They've done a special charity shirt that they're not showing to anybody. I got a sneak peek of it at the Wigan Warriors Media Day launch. They allowed us to see it, but we couldn't take any photographs of that. Lovely shirt, great cause. They're trying to sell the shirt out before it is launched. All proceeds is again going to that wonderful hospice. So again, some wonderful stuff. Paul Bale has bought a ticket from Canada. I don't think he's going to get on a plane, but there you go. That's what it's about. Paul in Canada, thank you very much indeed for buying that ticket for little Alfie. He will be very touched, as will his family. So please come to that. Right, okay, let's get into the Catalan Dragons squad. Boys, oh, dearie me, look at this little beauty. So you can see there, everybody who is in red on the top section is a new signing. That's it, don't blink twice. 13 new signings from Joel Tompkins going into this season. The departures, for the purposes of the podcast, Sam Tompkins retired, Arthur Romano gone, Luke Keary retired, Tavita Pangai Jr. gone, Tarek Sims retired, Elliot Whitehead retires, Oliver Partington gone, Bailey Simonon gone, Cesar Rouge gone, Paul Seguer gone, Jordan Desiree gone, Theo Farge gone, Fuad Jahar gone, Remy Smith gone, and of course Tanguy, he's gone to Halifax, hasn't he? Tanguy's then, and he played well at the weekend actually for Halifax. Got a good try. Bless his little cotton socks. But that's another story. In come a plethora of players. Let's go through them. Their fullback this season, Charlie Staines. Tommy Makerson's still there at number 2. 3, Nick Kotrick. Right, now we start to get interested. We've got to start getting these names right. At number 4, Solomona Faytape is how you say it, I believe. Faytape is how
Is it?
That's how it's said, yeah. I've been looking this up today because I wanted to give it my best shot. So that's Solomona. At number 5, Manasseh Cajo is how he pronounces that one. So that's Manasseh Cajo at 5. Toby Sexton, what a signing that could be. At 6, Toby was incredible for the Canterbury Bulldogs last year in their charge up the table, finished 3rd, of course. That's a very interesting signing indeed. Lewis Dodd at 7, we all know Lewis. Chris Satai is 8. Alrix de Costa, 9. Julien Bousquet at 10. Frank Maria up to 11. That's an interesting one. Ben Condon, yes, I said that right. Ben Condon, he's at number 12. Came in from Widnes, of course. He's got some. He's come from down under. He was rumoured to be going to Leigh at one point last season, but he's ended up in the south of France. At 13, in his rightful place, is the legend, is the quality, Benjamin Garcia, exactly where he should be. incredible. We were having that debate all last season. Very pleased to see him back in his rightful position. I think we'd all agree with that. Number 14, Phoenix, and I'm going to have a go at this one. And of course, all the Hull KR fans will have got this down, but I believe it's Laulu Tagahi is how he says it. That's an interesting one on me, but there you go. That's how you say it. We'll just call him Phoenix. At 15, here's another one. Isaac, I can do that bit. Fasu Amawali is how he says it.
That's Malu, isn't it?
Yeah, Fasu Amawali is how he says it. Yeah, Fasu Amawali. I get it. It takes you a while, but then when you start, it's quite easy. Fasu Amawali. So that's number 15. 16 is Josh Allen. Another import. Roman Neverett at 17. Harvey Wilson, you remember him from Salford, he's at 18. Cruz Leeming, of course, in that swap deal with Partington, he is at 19. Zach Lipowicz, he's at 20. Mathieu Laguerre, 21. Josh Sim from Casford Tigers, he's at 22. Of course, there he is. Aspiro Bichet, 24. 25 is Lenny Mark. 26, Hugo Thiessen. Clement Martin, 27. Leo, or Sash de Relator, as I call him, he's at number 28. 29 is Giovanni Discazi. And then finally at number 30 is Alexis Lees. So that is the Catalan Dragon side, gentlemen. Lots of changes, a hell of a lot of changes. Now, the interesting thing is, as I bring you all back onto screen, very similar to York, this. Very similar to York. These imports, with the exception, I think, of one of the players. Oh, no, actually, no. All of the players in this case, they're all circa 25, in and around the 25 mark. Similar to what York have done. Yes, they've brought in these quota players, but the quota players who've got petrol in the tank, who will not have given up hope of going back to the NRL and playing. And this could either be exceptional or a disaster on this level. We saw Lee do it last year, Steph, with the likes of Tessie New coming in and Offengawi coming in, a couple. This is wholesale changes, and I think that's what makes this dangerous, is the fact that it is a wholesale change. They're expecting a lot of players here to hit the ground running. If they do, it could be a masterstroke and a real tip of the hat to the scouting team at the Catalan Dragons. If they don't, then it could be a very short, sharp exit for Mr. Tompkins on attempt number 1. What's your thoughts, Steph? Do you agree?
Yeah, 100%. It's they're going to be one of the most fascinating sides to see how they do Catalan this year, because it is, like you said, wholesale changes, isn't it? They brought in some very, very good players, and a bit like I say, Sailor's not a 6 at Saints. Then Garcia certainly isn't a 9 at Catalan. So great to see him back at his rightful place at 13. I think that's going to be a big move for him personally. Lewis Dodd and Sexton, that could be a masterstroke halfback combination. That could be very, very dangerous. I'm interested to see how Kotrick's go. Obviously, was a Man of Steel contender at one point, wasn't he, last year, according to the
we don't talk about
that. But yeah, and Staines at fullback's going to be another interesting one, very dangerous player. And then obviously throwing Cruz Leeming as well from the Wigan Warriors. So they've got the one thing that people can't say is that this side hasn't got talent littered throughout it. The key thing for Catalan is how quickly can they gel, and I think it might be a bit of a slow start for Catalan while they do come, but towards the back end of the season they should be, in my opinion, pushing for the playoffs with this squad. I think it's a really good side on paper. And just had a message as well from my dad. He's listening off the coast of Haiti, so hello to my dad and mum who are on a cruise there.
Enjoy the ocean, sir. But yeah, I mean, look, Greg, I think the key element is always the spine. I think the fact they put Benjamin Garcia back at number 13 is the right call. I feel a little bit for Harvey Wilson. When they bought Wilson, I thought, oh, way up, he's got a chance here at Catalan to make. And then, of course, Cruz has come in. I worry a little bit for Harvey Wilson. I thought he played well for Salford last year. And, many were surprised that, of course, he went down to Catalan. So that's interesting. I think the spine looks good, but it's going to be so dependent on that partnership, Sexton and Lewis Dodd. Lewis Dodd has got a massive point to prove after what happened at South Sydney Rabbitohs. And as I said in the intro, Sexton last year for Canterbury, let's not forget, Canterbury Bulldogs, up to the point of Sexton signing for Catalan, were top of the NRL. Sexton was pivotal to that, absolutely pivotal to that. He had a great season. Many were surprised in the NRL that he was leaving to go to Catalan. So this, I mean, we did this with Luke Keary, but he was at the wrong end of his career. Toby Sexton could be a very interesting proposition for Catalan.
Very dangerous player. Very dangerous. Like Staines at fullback. Staines has had quite an impact in the NRL. Toby Sexton, like you say, completely turned the Bulldogs around. They were on fire with Sexton last season. Lewis Dodd, I think Steph said he's got a lot to prove. A lot of people were surprised when he went down to the NRL at that stage in his career, and a lot of people weren't surprised that maybe it didn't turn out the way it did. He's got a huge point to prove, I think, Lewis Dodd, and that could be dangerous. And I was listening to what he said, Dave, about this could either be a masterstroke or a disaster. And this is, when you're thinking about your predictions, for me, Catalan are the most difficult one to place in that Super League, because if it all goes wrong, then they could very well find themselves near the bottom. But if it all goes right, they could be challenging the top 4, maybe the top 2. They've got some great players in there, and I think Cruz Leeming is a masterstroke signing as well, because we've seen what he could do for Wigan coming off the bench. You've got De Costa, who's probably not the most dynamic. He's a decent player, don't get me wrong. Maybe not the most dynamic of number 9s, but then if you bring Leeming off the bench once, the pack has done its job. I think Catalan are going to be the interesting team this season to watch, and they're either going to be the great entertainers and trouble a lot of sides, or it could be the end of, like you say, Joel Tompkins by Easter and bringing somebody in. Fascinating stuff.
It is. It really is, and it's very difficult this far out to see. I mean, it's always difficult when they play to lose, in terms of what that actually means. It's going to be an interesting game one. They've got Huddersfield, haven't they, in game one, and Huddersfield normally travel well to the south of France, Joel, don't they? To be fair, again, unbelievably, Huddersfield's changes have not been as wholesale as this. So does that give Huddersfield an example? Is it the right time, do you think, for the Huddersfield Giants to be going to Catalan game one, Joel?
Absolutely, because we've not been as wholesale, but that's because we've not had the team out last year that we had. So this for us is almost like a wholesale team, because Huddersfield do have a new team, because a good 80% of those who are going to be playing this year didn't have much game time, if any at all, last year. So people haven't taken that into consideration, and that is absolutely wonderful. I'm happy to hear about that. But as regards Catalan, though, I think Joel was in a bit of a hiding for nothing. He was going to be damned if he did, damned if he didn't, no matter what he chose. But I think this was the right choice. I think you've got to go with a fresh squad. Clearly, what Catalan was happening there the last couple of years just wasn't working. So they've got a new team. It's under Joel. He's going to have it how he wants things. I can see how it is a bit like the York, thing with a lot of experienced and young players, but maybe that's what we need these days. The fact that how they've signed Toby Sexton, I don't know. That is just an absolute masterstroke. I know we talked about Luke Keary last year, but you've hit the nail on the head, Dave. The age difference is massive. Toby Sexton is in his, what we would say is still part of his prime, and he's got some incredible rugby to play. And the fact that Lewis Dodd, remember when he was at Saints were at their peak. Lewis is a good player. He just didn't get his chance in the NRL. And let's be clear, NRL and Super League are two very different games. Lewis is going to come back fired up. He's ready. He's got Toby to learn from. And I think this is the new beginning for Catalan. But they have to start strong. And when they play us, they're going to have to really put the markers down.
Yeah, and I think some of these players that they brought in here, I mean, certainly, for example, the ones that we haven't talked about, like Josh Sim. I like Josh Sim. He's got a great try to game ratio. He really has. 57 Super League appearances, 22 tries. When you consider who he's been playing, that's not a bad effort. It's not, Tatooine lad. Good, he was a part of the Saints squad that won the 4 in a row. So he's got the experience of playing for Saints. He's got a good strike rate. I think that's good business. I really like that. And I've always admired the likes of Julien Busquet. Chris Satai, for me, I don't think he's a starting prop. I always think he's more of an impact prop. So whether he starts or whether he comes off the bench, I think Roman Neverett is probably more suited as a starter. Of course, we might see some of these young lads as well that they brought in taking on that. But yeah, it's a fascinating team. I saw in the chat somebody said Tony Sexton's off to the RL back in the NRL 2027. He actually signed a 2-year contract, 26 27. So again, good business, because if the NRL come knocking for Sexton, unless it's written in that he can leave if the NRL come back for him, then Catalan might get a bit of money if he has a great 26. And there's no doubt Toby Sexton, he's playing for an improved contract in the NRL. He's
no doubt.
He's a quality player. And then, of course, Charlie at full back. We'll just end on this one. I mean, again, Espiro Bisha, everybody is expecting Espiro to maybe kick on this year. He's not got the number 1 shirt. And he's going up against somebody that, let's be honest, was a part of the 2021-2022 NRL Premiership winning sides. He also won the New South Wales Cup reserves in 2022. He played on the wing in the 2022 grand final for Penrith and scored a try. Let's not forget that. Good player. And here's one for you, boys. He actually scored on his debut 4 tries. 4 tries. He's only the 6th player since 1908 to score 4 or more on their debut. That was against Cronulla Sharks in that season. So, great player. So, well done, Joel. I think there's a couple of players on there that should get bums off seats. I really do. Fascinating to see Lewis Dodd. Like I say, if it all clicks, Catalan are going to be competitive and will be in that mix on the hardest season ever. We're only a week away, boys, from having to show our hand in terms of where we think teams are going to finish. The members have been all over the WhatsApp putting their predictions in. But probably... I'll just bring me old mucker Greg in, because of course we've been doing this since day dot. Greg, this is the hardest season ever for me to pick a league table. I even now, I don't know what I'm going to say next week in terms of who's in the 6, who's not, who's in the bottom 4, in what order. Would you agree? You're on mute, mate, so I can't hear you.
Hello. Technical term. You know what? I'm just going to cut the teams up and throw them in the air and see what position they come down. I think this time round, I think we've got search for the top 4. I think we've got a few that'll be near the bottom. It's that 4th to 9th that is really going to be difficult to predict. You know, you've got injuries to factor in. You've got all sorts of things, how teams travel, the weather, and the good thing about this is year on year, I think we say this at the beginning of every year, that this is the most difficult season to predict who's going to finish where. And I think we've been saying that for the past 4 or 5 years, that year on year, it gets more and more difficult to predict where teams are going to finish. It's going to be a tough one to get that 14 sorted in some sort of order.
Yeah, it is. And again, the chat's going on Sexton. Look, I agree. I heard that he was signing for the Perth Bears. However, I've also heard that he signed a 2-year contract. Now, if that is correct, then how that works, I don't know. It may be written in when it was originally signed, because he did sign for 2 years, that if an NRL club came in, he could leave, and that might be why the Perth Bears bit. But like I say, I wouldn't mind getting a bit of detail on that.
Or it could be a performance-based contract.
Could be. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, let's get the little man out. What's he going to talk about this week? Here he comes.
What Would Oliver Say is proudly sponsored by South Coast Lane Carpets. From shag pile to vinyl, nylon to wool, you are guaranteed to find the right fit for your home. Contact them today and tell them Oliver sent you. This is What Would Oliver Say at Super League Raw. So this week I want to talk about whether players should receive penalty points in a friendly match. At the weekend, Keenan Brand received 3 penalty points in a friendly against Warrington. Those points could lead to a suspension later in the season, which I think is unfair because the game didn't actually count. Friendly matches are for practice and preparation. Players are getting back into match fitness, trying new things, and sometimes emotions can run high. I understand that respect for referees is important, but giving penalty points in a friendly feels a bit too harsh. Maybe a warning could be better though. That's my opinion. What do you think, Super League Raw?
So what do we think, Super League Raw, to Ollie's question, of course, points in friendly. Should they be white? No. What I would say to young Oll, it's not the referee's fault. These are these things are put in place not by the referees. They just basically have to enforce the proper officiating on the pitch. That is taken care of by match review panels, etc., and the rules of the game. But Steph, I'll come to you as you're to my right or my left, depending on which way you want to look at it. Do you agree with all? Do you think that friendly games shouldn't carry points, or in Keenan's case where he's been a bit disrespectful to the referee, needs to be made an example of? Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I've probably got two thoughts. I think he's right in one respect that it's a friendly game. Should it really count towards and have an impact on the actual league season? However, for behaviour like what Keenan did, it's totally unacceptable, and that's as a Leigh fan. And he rightly got those points, and hopefully he's learned some lessons from it, because at the end of the day, these players are role models, and we don't want to go down the route of other sports where they're disrespectful to referees. So I'm sure Keenan has probably had a word with himself about his behaviour over that incident, and rightly so. And, he's specifically on Keenan. He had a great season last year for Leigh, and it's his first time he's ever had disciplinary points, I believe. But it's a warning to him, because there are a few players at Leigh who could very easily take his place. So he cannot behave like that. And for any actions towards discipline to a match official, then yes, I think they should get the full weight of the disciplinary panel.
Yeah, and we spoke earlier with regards to Keane, of course, given the number 2 shirt at Leigh this season, a great, off the back, and rightly so, off the back of a really solid 2025 season. But you're right. I mean, that in a friendly, in a nothing game, because let's be fair, that's what a friendly is. It's a nothing game. Leigh, Wigan, Hull FC, Wyo, etc. They'll all take something from it, minutes in the legs and all of that, but it's a nothing game. Keenan should not, in a nothing game, be getting that out of the collar, should he? I mean, it weren't a Challenge Cup final or a grand final. It was Warrington in a friendly at the Halliwell Jones. And he's got to take his medicine. And like you say, Adrian Lamb will look at that and go, ooh, because that could be out of the borough, that cost you the game, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see from to flip it, and not to condone it by any means, but it shows how much Keenan cared about that and how much he is playing for his spot and what that spot means to him. But that's not the way to go about it. It's controlled aggression, isn't it? And let your performance do the talking, not responding like that. And decisions won't go your way every time, and that's a lesson to any young rugby player out there. That mistakes will happen, and you'll make mistakes yourselves that you could have done better at, similar to the referees. So, but that behaviour, there's no place for that on our field, and I'm pleased that the disciplinary panel have sanctioned him for it, and hopefully he learns his lesson.
Absolutely, and a big thank you to South Coast Lane Carpets for continuing to sponsor Little All. We have, of course, and also thank you as well to Heather, who's sponsoring the women's podcast Tackle Talk. We've also got opportunities for you with regards to Craig's new show, Championship Rugby League with Craig Lingard. That's available for sponsorship, as well as to is the Captain's Run that he's back for 2026. That will be starting in time. Dear me, that's not long off either. That's a week on Thursday. The Captain's Run will be back for the new season. In the interest of time, we'll move on. Right, here we go. Time to get excited, folks. Here we go. Let's get into this little beauty. The Super League Raw prediction competition. We're partnering up with Super Brew. It's already set up. This is already live. There is the QR code. All you've got to do is scan that code and you can join. If you're a non-member, you can play along with us for fun. But if you are a member, then you have the opportunity of winning some brilliant prizes in 2026. For those who are 6 again and above members here at Super League Raw, you have the opportunity of winning. If you was to win it, £250 contribution towards your season ticket next year. So if you win this, you get a £250 contribution towards your season ticket. If you come second, you're going to get a replica jersey for your team. And if you come third, you will get a Super League Raw hoodie for 2027. Those are the prizes. We're also going to have a monthly spot prize for the best performing player in a month. So there you go. If that's not worth becoming a member for, I don't know what is. Great fun, dead easy, leaderboards the lot. We will publish them every week. This for me is a giant step forward because it's going to be really simple for you to play. It's going to be great. Greg, like I say, step forward. Great to be partnering with Super Raw on this, and it should be a great competition, mate.
Oh, it always is. It's always good fun. I mean, you're talking to the wrong person. I don't think I've ever won it. Mid-table mediocrity for me, but yeah, it's great fun. Gives you something to think about. Gives you something to look forward to each week as well. See where you are and how you're doing. So I love it, even though I'm not very good at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, 6 again or above you need to be to win this. And there's another competition as well that's coming in a few moments' time as well. So there's 2 big competitions this year here at Super League Raw. This is the first one, and we have moved the season ticket to this one because we expect more to play this than the Fantasy League. Fantasy League, I'll give you the details on that later in the show. But yeah, dead easy to play. It's going to take you, a minute to put your predictions in every week. And hey, you could be walking away with a £250 contribution towards your season ticket in 2027. How far we've come, Mr. Sale. How far we have come with these competitions, my friend.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And I'm sure 2026 is going to deliver even more fantastic prizes. But that's thanks to, all the members and everyone contributing that we can do it. So, you've got to be in it to win it. So if you're not a member and then I suggest you get joined into this fabulous community.
Well, there's a lot of penalties. Well, there's 7 people done the QR code, and I've not even announced the Fantasy League yet. And like I say, we've got plenty of competitions throughout the year. That again, all prizes here at Super League Raw only go to our members. We like to reward our members for their loyalty support. We don't sell magazines. The only way we can generate money to give back and to generate the shows and to generate the content is through the memberships. That is what it goes towards, and it comes back tenfold. So yeah, there it is. Scan the QR code. If you've missed the QR code, then all you need to do is, if you're interested in, is become a member. And as part of becoming a member, you get a welcome letter, and on that welcome letter is all the details you need to become a part of Super League Raw's Prediction League. And like I say, if you want to play for free and for fun, you can do. Just go over to Super Brew, put in Super League Raw 2026. You'll find our league and play along for fun. But yeah, you want to be involved in the prizes. That's what you want to do. And we'll also give some really good monthly prizes as well. Right, Joel, because I've not spoken to you for a while, my friend, we'll bring you in on this little beauty, because now we're moving to Wakefield Trinity. Wakefield Trinity, everybody's guilty pleasure in 2025. And Darryl Powell, take her bow, you little beauty, because what has he gone and done? He's gone and raised the stakes. Good lad, well done. Let's go through this squad for the purposes of the podcast. At 1 is Max Jowett, who flew back into Super League last year. Great effort from him. Oliver Pratt is at 2. Cameron Scott at 3. Corey Hall at 4. Tom Johnstone, he's at 5. Jake Truman 6. Mason Lino, what a season he had back in Super League last year. He's there at 7. Mike McMeekin, no less. January, what was he, Mr. January? You ladies out there that did Tackle Talk, Mike will be delighted with such an honour. 8 is Mike McMeekin, and then we've got Tyson Smoother. Oh, we're going to be talking about him in a minute. What an absolute stellar signing that one could be. At 10 is Kai Rodwell. Seth Nicotimo's 11. 12, Matty Staunton. Good on Matty, getting a 12 shirt this season. Number 13, this one will come as a surprise to many when the squad came out. Of course, Jay Pitch, you'll see him there at 14, but Jazz Tavanga. Yeah, that's how he says it, Tavanga, even though there's no N. Really weird, but there you go. Jazz Tavanga, he's at number 13. Then we've got Caleb, new contract Caleb, he's at 15. Caius Fire-Tilly, he's at 16. What a season. What a season Caius Fire-Tilly had. The man with the past the name was incredible. 17, Harvey Smith. 18, Isaiah Vagana. Lachlan Walmsley at 19. All those try-scoring exploits last year, and he's down at 19. Jack Sinfield, Alex Sharp's guilty pleasure, he's at 20. Jaden Myers, 21. Thomas Doyle, 22. Josh Rourke at 23. I'll say that again. Josh Rourke is 23 in these squad numbers. Absolutely unbelievable. Then we've got at 24, Trey Lalicio from the Redcliffe Dolphins. He's there on a 2-year contract. 33 appearances at the Queensland Cup from him to his name. Jordan Williams is 25. Basil Orford, he's at 27. Noah High, 28. Ellis Lingard, 29. Then we've got the man that, of course, has come from Hull KR, Neil Chamamba is, I believe, how he says his surname. He's there. Well, he's not actually, because he's actually gone out on loan to London. But anyway, he got given the number 30, and now he's playing at London. Kian McCann, he's in there from St. Helens. 2-year contract for him. He's in this season. And Will Tate also there as well. Will's number's wrong. I do apologise. That should be 32, not 27. And then, of course, the departed list. Josh Griffin off to the York Knights. Castleford Bowman off to Tony. Liam Hood. Matthew Cozza and Ollie Russell have gone to the Giants. Jack Croft has gone to the London Broncos. And Matty Russell has gone to Oldham, a great pro, Matty Russell. Been around quite a few teams, never lets you down. But Matty has left Wakefield Trinity as well. So that basically is their squad. Joel, does that strike fear into you? Because, this is the team that finished 6th. And for me, the signing of Smoothie, that could be very exciting.
That's a new dimension, and as we said with the Catalan one, how they've signed Smoothie, I don't know, but I think it's just testament to how they've played as a team, but how they've been run as a club, and it has been really good. I'm very surprised though with a couple of the numbers that they've been given. In fact, 3 of them. So how Josh Rourke hasn't been given a lower number, I don't know. I think he's a cracking player. Is Josh Rourke. And then you got Mr. Walmsley, Lachlan Walmsley, absolutely stellar season last season, and we're hoping that he's going to crack on and get some game time this year. I think he deserves it. That when you play well, you should deserve your game time. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Like with Jackson Field being in the squad now, I think they've tightened up in certain areas, and they've. It's a shame that they've not got Josh Griffin there now. I think he's a good player that Wakey could have done with maybe keeping, but then again, with the players that they've got coming in and the way that they've been going in the pre-season, sounds like they're doing pretty well, and they're quietly confident. So it does, yeah. For a team like Huddersfield, we kind of think we'd like to be there or thereabouts where Wakefield is, but they're looking extremely strong, and I think they're really up for a big year.
Yeah, I mean, Greg, Brisbane Broncos fan over in Australia yourself, Tyson Smoothie, mate, played in all of those playoff games. I mean, what a playoff series Brisbane had last year, absolutely incredible. Canberra, that Canberra game, which was just unbelievable. Then, of course, dethroning Penrith in the semi-final, and then a brilliant final against Melbourne. He played in all 3. He must be a fan of Smoothie, and like us, you must have been gobsmacked when he was prized to Wakefield.
Absolutely unbelievable. He's a wonderful player. Players like Smoothie are worth the entrance fee alone, and I think that's why grounds are starting to sell out, because these players are really, really worth the entrance fee alone. He's just such a solid player, an inventive player. But I think Josh was saying about not Josh. Joel, where did you get Josh from? Sorry, Joel. Joel was saying, about Rourke being further back in the pecking order. I think that may be because Tavanga can pop into hooker as well. So they might use him at loose and then drop him in when Smoothie's up for a rest. And that's maybe why Rourke has dropped down the pecking order a little bit. But going back to Tyson Smoothie, what a player! I can't wait. I can't wait to see him actually play in the Super League. He is one player I am seriously looking forward to watch play.
It's a point well made that Tavanga can play at hook. He's got a very low centre of gravity, very evasive, very elusive player. Played 162 times in the NRL. That tells you everything you need to know. He's 30 years of age. You don't play 162 times in the NRL if you're not a competent player. He is a competent player. Very good around the ruck. He can slide up there into hook, and very similar to what we're saying in terms of Harvey Wilson, Harvey Smith at Wakey as well. I mean, he was a player last year that, when called upon, I felt played pretty well. And again, he's got players there that have come in that might prevent him from getting a bit of game time. That's going to be fascinating, no doubt about that whatsoever. Steph, this was a team that you saw at close quarters, and you had some cracking ding-dongs with them last year, it has to be said, at the Leigh Leopards. That this is not a team to take lightly. I mean, this could be the go again stronger, Wakefield.
Absolutely, and I would say write them off at your peril. As someone that experienced the same thing with Leigh, we had a great first season. Everyone said, "Oh, we'll drop out. We won't do this. We won't do that. We've made some changes and whatever." I fully expect Wakefield to be strong again next year and be in the playoffs again next year. I think they've lost Liam Hood. I think that's probably the best player out of the ones that have departed, but they've upgraded it with Tyson Smoothie. So why people think they're going to, go worse than what they did last year is beyond me. They've got some really, really good players in there, and I think it says it all when Josh Rock is getting the number 23 shirt. And the other thing they've got there, which you cannot buy, is the feel-good factor. They've got a great chairman. They're close to 5,000 season tickets. Again, it's following that Leigh blueprint from 2023 for me. And I think they're going to be even better. They played a brilliant brand of rugby. They were probably, like you say, everyone's guilty pleasure, Dave. They were one of the most entertaining sides to watch in terms of the rugby that they played. So I'd be very excited as a Wakefield fan going into this season. I think they're going to do really well again.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, mate. I really couldn't agree with you more. I think it's a fascinating team. I thought Darryl Powell did an incredible job with them last year in terms of rallying them. And I think, it's interesting. I think you're right. The players that they've let go are players that are ending at the end of their career, or they've just got a better quality of player already there. And you're moving Ollie Russell on, who I think is going to be good for Huddersfield, don't get me wrong, but it frees up cap space for some of these players that like a Tyson Smoother. And so I think it's a very clever little bit of moving the pieces around that Darryl Powell has done. Great squad, that has got so much, and surprise. I mean, and a player that not many people will talk about in that squad, because he didn't play many times last season, but it shows how much Darryl Powell really rates him. He's Kai Rodwell at 10. Didn't have the best. Only played 9 times last year for Wakey. He's kept some big units out the 13. I mean, look, we always say squad numbers don't really matter, but I think that's a big vote of confidence for Kai Rodwell. A player that struggled with his injuries last year, clearly fancied by Darryl. And when you consider as well, he's been throwing extended contracts to Caleb and Caius like confetti. To give Kai that number 10, that tells you what Darryl Powell thinks of Kai Rodwell. So really, really interesting.
Myers as well. Jaden Myers.
Yeah, Jaden Myers. Yeah, you're spot on. Really exciting winger. Scored 3 in the last 8 last year. In 8 games. So yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Before we move on from Wakey and we get to the Bevan French interview, the only thing here, and I just want to get your take on this, Joel, I'll start with you, is Mason Leno was exceptional last year. Exceptional. Jake Truman at 6. That for me is interesting, because Jake has had nothing but trouble with injuries. We know that Jake on his day is a quality player, but when I look at that squad, I'm going, that's where, I mean, I know they brought Jack Sinfield in, but we had this conversation, and the reason Jack's at Wakefield, we had this conversation time and again with one of our members, Alex Sharp, last year. Jack Sinfield is not, at this moment in time anyway, and there's no disrespect to Jack, it's just reality. Jack Sinfield is not a grand final winning halfback. Now, whether he develops into that or not, we'll have to wait and see, but he's not a grand final winning halfback. So you've got him there. Now, last year, of course, they put Max Jowett in there, and then they brought Josh Rourke in, so they had options. But for me, for Wakey to really threaten, because they've got a good squad there, to really threaten higher up that table than they were last year, would you agree that Jake Truman's fitness is going to be vitally important to them?
Yeah, I think it comes down to the fact that if he doesn't stay fit and he has another season where he's got injuries, his time at top of the top of the league rugby could be over, because injuries, you can be as good a player as you want, but if you're not out on the field playing, no team wants to have you, because you become a liability. You're no longer an asset, and that's horrible to say that, because he's a very good player when he plays. So fitness is going to be absolutely massive for Jake. He's going to have to work his socks off, and I'm sure he's doing during pre-season to make sure that he minimises what he can for himself, and the club's going to protect him, I'm sure, with bubble wrap. But that bubble wrap comes off as soon as round 1 comes around, and Jake's going to have to, help Mason Leno, because Leno had a great season last season, but he's not had incredible seasons previously. So, that could be a good matchup if it stays fit throughout the year. But it's, old habits die hard, and if Jake is prone to injuries, he's unfortunately going to have that issue. Darryl obviously sees something with Jack. Jack clearly must be a player for the future, or has something there that they can build on with him. If Jake does go injured again, this is the chance for your likes of Jack Sinfield, Josh Rourke, to claim your stake and possibly replace with that number again. But I think for Wakefield, for them to want to be in the upper echelons of Super League. Them Tyson Smoothies, fantastic, but you could do with having one of them in the halves as well. Because, you're going up against really good teams this year. Leigh are going to be very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
Wigan are going to be strong. Hull KR, very dangerous. We've got a lot of teams here that are putting some really big names in. And yes, they have done with Tyson Smoother. He's a fantastic player, but your hooker can only do so much. You need playmakers or people that can do things at half. And for me, that's where Wakefield have just slightly got a weakness compared to some clubs that they're aspiring to be up with there with.
Yeah, Jake Truman is 26, turns 27 this month. I see your good friend Andy Bibby's in the chat, Steph, so I'll let you respond to this one. He doesn't know how we think that Trinity would finish above Warrington FC and the Giants. It's baffling him. He doesn't see Trinity in the top 6. Do you agree with Andy or not?
Well, I don't agree with him because I think Wakefield could easily be in the top 6. They proved that last year, and they've only got, like I said, they've got better than what they had last year. They've upgraded. So all I'd say is underestimate them at your peril. And I think when you're coming at a point of how anyone can do it, then I think you need to look in the mirror, pal.
Well, I mean, and this is it. I think the reason why, Andy, you would. We're very respectful of Trinity here on Super League Raw Weekly, is that those 3 teams that you mentioned, they finished above them last year, and they've improved the squad. As to you would argue with FC, as to you would argue Catalan, as to you would argue FC Catalan and Warrington. Sorry, but for me, mate, like I say, it's about respect, and you've got to respect what Wakefield did last year, and I think that is very, very interesting acquisitions. Tyson Smoothie, I'll tell you now, do not write this far out. Do not write him out of number 9 Dream Team. Do not write him out of that.
Dave, don't write him off Man of Steel either.
Yeah.
Exactly. That Tyson
Very
Smoothie,
possible.
Class player. Don't know about a Man of Steel. We'll get into that next week, but certainly Dream Team 9. I mean, and again, the competition, Dream Team 9 this year.
Huge.
Boys. Oh, we've got some wonderful hookers we have, haven't we?
He's a class player.
He is a class player. But well done, Dal Powell. I think that's a very exciting squad going in to 2026. I, for one, they were my guilty pleasure last year, and I, for one, really looking forward to seeing the Trin in
26.
26, yeah.
In fact, Dave's actually coming to that game where Wakefield are playing Huddersfield at our ground. So he's going to get to see that up close and personal.
Do you know what? I might come along to that myself.
I think you should do. Well, especially with Smoothie playing, he's your man, isn't he?
He is. I'll be bringing the Broncos top along.
Well done, boys. Good to see you chatting away. Right, okay. We've now come to that time in the show that I promised you, and it's an exclusive interview with Super League Raw that Bevan French did. There's moments in this where, you're going to enjoy this. You're going to enjoy this. Anybody who's seen me interview knows that I ask questions and context that perhaps he's never been asked before, and he hasn't been asked before. So when somebody like Bevan French says, I've never thought of it like that, I'll take that as a little thank you very much indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is Bevan French exclusive interview with Super League Raw. Enjoy. 8 o'clock, Tuesdays, live YouTube. Yeah. Give us a watch, mate. Give us a watch.
Too easy.
We're trying our best. So here we are with Bevan French. And Bevan, for you, the show in the grand final over there, it must be heartbreaking for you every time you see how close you were to getting that ball down for that first try.
Yeah, it's part of the game, though, isn't it? Sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. Can't really dwell on it. You just got to get on with it now and try and put your best foot forward now. But yeah, it's the first time seeing all that stuff again. Obviously, it's the end of the year and we'll go straight home after that, back over to Australia. So, watching that, it hurts. There was quite a few times, quite a few things there we probably got wrong. But it makes you more hungry, I guess, to work on those things and come back better this year.
I mean, it appears from a neutral perspective, it's so tight between you and KR in terms of, when you go head to head at this moment in time. In 2024, it was your little bit of magic that got it. Last year, it was Mikey's little bit of magic that got it. It really is going to be all on again, isn't it, between you two?
Yeah, you could say so. It's another thing. Like, I think obviously not just respectfully just me and him, but both teams are quality across the whole pitch. So I think not even just turns say you'd say me or Mikey trying to come up with those things, but the whole team, both teams have you got to pay respect to all of those, and they got people in their lineup that we've always got to keep an eye out for. It's not just him, and vice versa on ours. So, it does set a bit of a platform for when we come up against each other. I'm sure it's going to be tight. Like you said, we won the 2024, they got last year, so it's been a good feud. It's been healthy for the competition, I think, and it's brilliant. It's the first time that the club has won it, so it's good for the competition in general. And he's got a while left now to stay around here in the competition, and quite a few of us in this team are here for a few more years as well. So it looks like it's going to be getting better, hopefully.
Well, we're delighted you're here for a couple more years, I have to say. He's got a bit, you can't see, but he's got a bit of bread that he's just been given, and everybody's trying to nick it on him, but that's by the by. But no, you're right, and actually, we spoke, I can't remember, I did a press conference, and we spoke halfway through last year, and you just made a really important point there in terms, you're right, it's not about just you and Mike, it's the teams. Harry Smith, I spoke to Harry earlier. The way he marshals the team around, he's so pivotal to allowing you to do what you do. I mean, you're right to point that out. There's so many unsung heroes in your team and theirs and other teams in Super League, isn't there?
Of course. We're quite in a lucky position, and I think you'd say people like me and Mikey, and you got Jay in our team, and there's a lot of people across the competition, the same sort of skill set and things like that, and we don't really get to showcase that unless, you're right, the platform is put in place for us, and hopefully, I know they've had a talk about the to trying to speed the game up again now after the Ashes series. Hopefully that helps people like myself and Mikey and Jay and all the rest to be able to showcase that stuff more. So a lot has to go your way. Obviously, with the team around you, putting the platform correct for us to be able to do that. But then, hopefully now with this, trying to speed the ruck up again, there's more opportunities for people like us as well moving forward. So, it's very exciting.
I mean, we need you on the pitch. I mean, the last couple of years, you've had little niggles here and there that's kept you out for a couple of games. I don't know that, you've got young Jack behind you that, whether you and Harry, if you did pick up a strain or you needed to be rested, there's a great deputy there in Jack Farman to come in. But we're just hoping that you can do the full season this year, because we need players like you, because you're the ones who get the headlines and you're the ones that get new people watching the sport, as well as it's right and appropriate we give all those other players their head, because you can't play without them. It's players like you that put bums on seats. So please God, you're gonna.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
You're gonna be fit, aren't you?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Oh, well,
You feeling good?
I'm feeling good. It's the best I've felt in a while. The last few pre-seasons, the end of seasons, you'd end the year with little niggling injuries where you just have to stay off your feet for 5 or 6 weeks. But this is the first time, I got to finish the year in actually healthy space. So, I've come back feeling the best I've felt in a while. So, hopefully I'll be able to put my best foot forward and stay on the pitch as long as I can. But, in other words, if the injuries do happen, like you said, Jack Faramon, he's another person you can put in the same category as us. He's outstanding. This guy. That's why you can't do media around there.
No. Jay Fields come back now. He's behind the camera. But no, and again, I think we might have captured this last time we spoke, but I want to capture it again. You are a player that it's like you've got a little kid in you, that you play like you're still on a park field back home. I mean, some of your eyes at rugby is just like, that's instinctive, that's inbred in you. I mean, is the passion for this sport still burning like it did all those years ago when you started playing?
Yeah, of course. And I think it's been a very important in my, growth as a player being here. Obviously, you give instructions and, you want to follow them as much as you can. But I've really been, I guess, given the green light from Matty and the coaching staff to sort of back myself, and those instinct moments come up. Oh, you can't really train for those sort of moments, instinct moments. It literally is from playing from when I was a kid. So, they've obviously given me the green light to be able to do that. So, it's really thanks to them, really. Otherwise, you can be a part of teams and squads and coaches where it's all about a system and all that sort of stuff. Where, I'm sort of got free reign at the moment. So,
I'm going to ask you a really awkward question. I hope you don't mind. Okay, because as supporters, when you score one of them, like the ones that Leigh, the dinks over the top, and the ones that you followed through and scored, as supporters go home and talk about those for days, weeks and months. I mean, they'll live long beyond your career. As a player who's executed that, what's it like? I mean, in your head, do you know when you've scored a special try, and what does it mean? I mean, I know it's team first, but when you look back on some of your tries, how do you analyse them?
It's a great question. I think I've focused too much on trying to stay level-headed and not rise and fall between, being on a high and being in a bad mood over an error. Yeah. I think I've really worked on that. So when tries like that happen, I don't think I've appreciated in that moment. All I'm trying to stay is on the same level as composure throughout the whole 80 minutes, to be honest. It's not really till after, when you're in the sheds and the boys sort of give you, just talk about it and stuff, really. But during the time and the process when it happens, I don't really think of it like that, really. All I've focused in my own head is just trying to stay on the same level, to be honest. So, yeah. Yeah,
and I think, as supporters of Rugby League across Super League, I mean, there's a section over there, Martin Afire, Liam Marshall, the two Challenge Cup final winning tries that go down in folklore and history. But I think what makes you a little bit different is that those are easy to remember. Your try in the grand final 24, that's easy to remember because it was on a big stage. But I think you fall into a pretty unique bracket in the fact that those tries against the like of Leigh, etc., they will also live in the memory.
So you ever got coaches trying to distract us?
Yeah, Matt Peace there as well. But you get my point. I mean, some of your tries, even though they're not in finals, will live long in the memory, and I think that shows just how good a tries you have scored in Super League. That they're not in finals, but people remember them.
Well, thanks. Thanks. I've never really thought of it like that. Obviously, you like these ones here. They're all on the big stage, and they're the ones that you seem to remember. But I've not really thought of those other tries like that, to be honest. So I'm grateful and thankful for the kind words, of course. And hopefully I'll just keep trying to provide more of those moments.
Yeah, but everybody's saying not against their team is what they're saying there. But no, look, it's been an absolute privilege. It's great that we've got you for a few more years. Hopefully you stay longer.
Yeah,
Go well. Looking forward to watching you, mate.
Appreciate
you take care.
Thank you so
All
much.
The best. Cheers. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. So there you go, Bevan French, exclusive interview. Who wants to go first?
What a player. He's when you were talking about the way he plays, it's just instinctive. You were saying about, the kid in the park. He's got the skills you can't teach. He's a natural. He's an instinctive rugby league player. He's got a telepathic relationship with Jai Field. He's one of those players, a bit like the smoothies of this world, where when he's on form and when he's fit, he's worth the entrance fee alone. And a lot of opposing teams, supporters won't like him and will hate him. But our competition is a better competition for having Bevan French in it. I think he's superb. He's a superb player. That's what I think of him. He's an instinctive rugby league player that just acts naturally and does what he thinks, and 9 times out of 10 that comes off. And if he can stay fit, he's a major asset to any team he plays in.
Joel, he's massive for Wigan in terms of him staying fit. If he does stay fit, not only will Wigan stand a better chance of getting back to Old Trafford, but dare I say, if he played 27 rounds, he'd probably be very high on people's list in terms of potential man of steel. When I spoke to him about his tries, I found his reaction really interesting when he said that I've never really thought of it that way, but it's true. You always remember tries in finals and big tries, and of course, wide to right last year, that'll stick in the memory. But French has had so many instinctive tries that when you sit and think of Bevan French, he just pop straight into your head. And they weren't in finals; they were in rounds of Super League, weren't they?
Dave, let me just say first of all, what a question! The fact that I don't think he's probably been asked that before, and you know, it is interesting because you start to get into the mind of these players, because for them it's instinctive. It's not something that's flashy to them. It's just something that they play what they see.
Yeah.
And they do what they know, and that is a skill that many people don't have or can acquire. But for Bevan to be able to look back and think about some of the stuff that he's done, because like they said about the grand final, he's not really seen it. He's played in it, but he's not seen it back. You know, from to watch it back, it must be pretty special. But these are high elite professionals here, where when they are in the zone, they're not thinking about, oh, I'm going to do this to make the crowd go wild. I'm doing this to get my team into an advantage. And when you look into that mindset and that they're crafting this in their mind, they're not thinking for the next play. They're thinking 3, 4, 5 plays ahead, even to the next set. You know, and Bevan is a very special person, a very special talent that we've got in England, and we need to keep him. You look at how when he wasn't playing, when he had them few games where he wasn't playing, Wigan were a far different team, and not in a good way. They needed Bevan on the field, and when he's playing in his position, and anyone gives him even an inch of room, Bevan will run rings around you, and that is something that brings this sport in England of rugby league to become something special. And it's also something for the youngsters to emulate and want to become when they grow older. So to have Bevan is just I think it's a privilege to have him in the league, and we're looking forward to this season, what he's going to do.
I think we'd all agree with that. And Steph, Joel's made a really good point there, and I'll just pick up on it in the fact that, I remember and we've all been there, we've all been kids. You go and, no matter what sport you watch, you go and try and emulate your heroes. So what Bevan accomplishes on a rugby league field, those Wigan fans and non-Wigan fans then go onto a park and practice the dink and the follow through and all the rest of it. And some of these kids will be the future of Super League. So in that respect, it's not just enjoying Bevan now, it's the impact he's making potentially on future generations, because there's not many players that have come along in the history of our game that has got that level of talent. He is an elite rugby league player on these shows. We're not talking NRL, we're talking Super League. There's plenty over in the NRL, but we have been blessed to have him for as long as we have. He clearly wants to stay longer. And that can only be good, not only for Wigan, not only for the comp, but also for future generations that play the game.
Absolutely. I've said a million times on this show, he's the only genuine superstar. We've got some fantastic rugby league players. Mikey Lewis is Connor, all those who played brilliantly last season. But he is someone who is genuinely a superstar. And when you talk about people emulate, I remember players like Rangi Chase. He did things that no other player was doing, and that's where Bevan is now. And I think Bevan's a step up from what Rangi was doing.
Yeah.
He is a genuine super. But not only has he got that on the pitch, he's got that off it as well. And that interview was captivating. I could have listened to that interview for an hour, and that's credit to you, Dave, for your interviewing skills, but also to the way Bevan speaks as well. And it's rare that from a player, especially with the rivalry that we're building now with Wigan, from my team's perspective. But it's respect, and it's respect for a genuine superstar talent in our sport. He is that type of player, and as much as it will be detrimental to my team and all our teams, if you're not a Wigan fan, we all want to see Bevan French have an amazing season, and if he does, then he will be man of steel. It's as simple as that. If he plays 27 rounds this year, Bevan French will be man of steel.
The mad thing is about Bevan, and we'll just bring this to a close. It's a Bevan loving, but he is class, let's be fair. And, I think it says everything that none of us support Wigan, and we're just calling it straight. He is absolute class, and he is. For me, champion off the pitch, champion on the pitch. And I think he's one of the few players in the game where when he's got his hands on the ball, the away supporters sit up as well as the home ones. Because and that's the biggest testament I can give him. You know, as an away supporter, you're feared to death, but equally you're going, what's he going to do? Because you don't know what he's going to do. But whatever, but you know, and that's the beauty of the player. And these are the players that are going to be so, you know, just when whoever's doing the negotiation for the TV deal, just go and do a highlight reel of Bevan French. This is what you're buying, you know, and players of that ilk. And again, we've done it tonight. We're very blessed, you know. We've got Sexton coming in, we've got Smoothie coming in, we've got other players that have got genuine quality, no doubt about it. But Bevan has done it season after season after season. He is the benchmark. There's no question about that. People, of course, members have already seen that interview as part of our Wigan Warriors Media Day mini documentary. That is going to be landing tomorrow, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Tomorrow at 7 p.m., you have got the Wigan Warriors Media Day dropping on our YouTube channel. If you're listening to the podcast, Super League Raw on YouTube. If you go there tomorrow night at 7 p.m., you will have full access to the Wigan Warriors Behind the Scenes Media Day. There's interviews with Matt Peat, with Bevan French, Jay Field, Liam Marshall, Junior Insemba, Sam Walters. The list goes on and on and on. Make sure you catch that. Great little mini documentary. Thank you very much indeed for Wigan for inviting me. I hope I paid you back tenfold with the interviews that we did. And that's available for you tomorrow, 7 p.m. on Wednesday. And like I say, guys, QR code time at the top there. Become a member. Become a member. Become a member. If you're going to do that prediction league, you want to try and win the prizes. Look at what we're doing. Look at the content we're giving you. There's more content that's behind the wall. You really want to be a part of it this year. And in a minute, we're going to do the Fantasy League as well. So do become a member. There's the QR code. Get it scanned. Become a member at Super League Raw. Be a part of the Final Hooter podcast, the Ladies Tackle Talk podcast, Captain's Run. Be a guest on that. Come and have your voice because it's as big as anybody's. Knowledgeable people out there. But that said, on that topic, I have to go early. The 2026 Ian Judson Award goes to Andy Bibby. There's no doubt about that. Right, okay, let's go into the Leigh Leopards side. We'll move swiftly on. This is Leigh, and I have to say the Leopards haven't made too much changes, and the changes they have made, of course, Steph will, I'm sure, have a conversation with us with regards to this. But let's go through it for the purposes of the podcast. The Leigh Leopards, let's not forget, finished third last year, 2-2 in the Battle of the Board. Lost the big one, of course, the semi-final, but a big improvement on the prior year. They finally got 2 games over Wigan, and they'll be looking to go further this year. David Armstrong, he's at 1, of course, missed out a lot of the season, so that's almost like a new signing in some respects. Keenan Brand at 2, Tessie New at 3, Yamala Hanley at 4. Hopefully Steph's got an update on his shoulder injury that he picked up against Warrington. Josh Charlie 5, Adam Cook in at 6. That's a massive signing. Massive signing. We were saying last year where Leigh were concerned, goal kicking was a problem for them. It was throughout the season. One of the lowest conversion rates in Super League was the Leigh Leopards last year. Adam Cook, good goal kicker, got 2 from the sidelines against Warrington, took them very, very well. So his combination with Lachlan Lamb, both of them, 25 years of age. So that's interesting as well. Lots to look forward to there. Joe Effinghowitt, brilliant addition to Super League last year. He's at number 8. Erin Pape, one of the most feared and respected number 9s in the league at 9. Robbie Mulhern in what will be his swan song season at the Leopards at 10. Frankie Holton, one of the best tacklers in Super League at 11. NRL bound Owen Trout in 2027, we think, is at 12. Isaac Liu, he's at 13. Aaron Penne, 14. Jacob Alec Winicki, I think it's how he says it, but Steph will tell me in a minute. Matt Davis at 16. Liam Horn in, of course. He's come in as deputy hooker there. Bailey Hodgson, 18. Innis Senior at 19. AJ Towles, 20. Gareth O'Brien, now 21. Jack Hughes, 22. Andy Bedrock, 23. Ben McNamara, 24. Lewis Brogan, 25. Nathan Weil, 26. Kevin Rothwell, 27. Ryan Brown, 28. Will Buff, who is, of course, Danny Bruff's lad, he's at 29. And Oliver Pollock, who's come in from St. Helens, he is at 30. The departees for the Leopards this year: Daniel McIntosh, Alex Tataraki, Brad Dwyer, Ethan O'Neill, which was the surprising one, I think, Ben Nakabuai, I think is how it says, but again, Nakabui, again, Steph will tell me. Jack Derbyshire. Go on, Steph, what is it?
Nakabui.
That'll do for me. Yeah, what Steph said. and Brad Martin as well. So they're the departees. So there you go. There's the Leigh Leopards. Steph, we will start with you. It's your team. So it's right that we start with you. Can you hear me, folks? I don't know what's going on my end here.
We can.
Fabulous.
We can.
Steph, walk us through it. Improvement from you, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, since 2023, Leigh have made wholesale changes a bit a la Catalans Dragons this season. It's been, 12 in, 11 in kind of thing. So this is the first season really where it's only been a couple of new faces at the Leopards, which is probably the biggest positive. It shows a bit of consistency now and settling into Super League, which, don't forget, this is only Leigh's fourth season, is it? Third season? Fourth season.
What?
Fourth season in Super League. So that's a real positive, and I think Leigh have always started a bit slow in Super League, so hopefully that'll be a bit different this year. But if you look at the players out for the Leopards, and this is where you've got to look at last season, and a bit like a point on Wakefield as well. Really, they've improved in the areas that they needed to. Yes, we've lost Brad Dwyer, but we've replaced him with Liam Horn, who is 6 years younger, and for me a better player at this moment in his career. So that's a real positive for Leigh. In his senior, I think, is the signing that's gone under the radar. And I know Cas fans have been a bit disrespectful to Innes. I've been Innes' biggest fan. When he's been at Cas, I think he's been really good. Obviously, he's had his injury, but that could be a huge signing. I wouldn't be surprised if Innes didn't finish top try scorer this season with service from Lachlan Lamb, 41 assists last year. So Innes should have a field day if he can cement his place in the side. So Ethan O'Neill was the one that I was gutted about because he was great and got his injury late on in the season for Leigh last year and didn't manage to get back in the squad. But Alec Wiki went really well at Warrington. PNG International. That's going to be a really interesting one for the Leopards. But I think Leigh's season really hinges on Adam Cook. That's the if you look at all the signings that Leigh have made, Gaz O'Brien's done a fantastic job for Leigh. Still in the squad, and if Adam isn't up to standard, he's obviously waiting in the wings, and we'll be putting pressure on him for that position. But when you look at where Leigh's probably biggest weakness was last year, I think it was a 60% conversion rate. The difference in that can be between winning and losing games. So what we've seen for the glimpse we had at Warrington was him kicking 2 conversions from the touchline in horrendous conditions. So the start was very good from Adam. So yeah, it's going to be another fascinating season for Leigh. Can they mix it? Well, they've already proved they can. I know Andy, my mate Andy there, I said we've not got a big enough pack. Well, the pack's no different from last year, and they finished third. So we'll see how we go on that front. But no, I'm interested more in what you boys think of the League squad, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'll touch, Greg. I'll touch on in his senior and as an incoming player, and I tend to agree with Steph. I think when you consider play for Huddersfield, play for Casper, no disrespect to either side, but we're not talking those two sides. That said, Castleford, I think it's Huddersfield. He'd have been around at 2022, wouldn't he, Joel? Would have,
yeah. He
was around then, but with the exception of that season, Innes has been at clubs that, let's be fair, traditionally have not competed consistently at the top of Super League. Let's be fair to Leigh; they've been in the playoffs every year that they've been back in Super League. So, or bar one, is that right, Steph? Did they miss out the first year?
No, they playoffs every year, and the semi-final for the last 2.
I've just for some reason the first year just passed me by there for a minute. But anyway, so like I say, he's gone to a club that is genuinely on the up, and he scored 61 tries and 135 appearances. That's not a bad strike rate. That is not a bad strike rate by any stretch in terms of wing play. So would you agree with Steph that Innes at this moment in time he's going under the radar and could be potent for him?
100%. It's what, I agree totally with what Steph said about that. He knows his way to the try line, as Steph has answered Andy's question. This pack did well last year. He'll do well again this year. And yeah, Dave, totally agree. A good signing. I think the key is getting people like David Armstrong fit as well. Players like that, Adam Cook, as you said, Dave, and Steph, converting those tries last week. Conversions let you down a lot last season. Bailey Hodgson as well. He might be key this season. And, Leigh might, a lot of people are quite quick to write off Leigh when they lose players. They lost players of the ilk of John Asiata. People were saying that was it for Leigh. They've got a knack of bringing in players like you in his seniors that might fly under the radar, but do the job they're asked to do. And that's what Leigh do well. They might not, and this is no disrespect to Leigh by any stretch of the imagination, they might not bring the most spectacular players in, but they bring players in who know how to do the job and do it well. And that's why they've been so successful for the last 3 or 4 years in Super League, because Lamb as a coach and the coaching team there know how to get the best out of those players. And as I say, they know exactly what they're doing. They know how to go out the business, and that's why Leigh have been so successful. Won a Challenge Cup, been in the playoffs the last 4 or 5 years. And you've got to respect them. You can't disrespect a team like Leigh, because it'll bite you on the bum. I think was Owen. Sorry, Dave. Was Owen Trout propping on Friday night?
Yeah, so Owen Trout is used either way. I think, and there's people in the chat, and I'll bring Joel in because obviously Owen was from Huddersfield. I think Trout Joel's better at second row. I really do. I just think that's where he's at. However, and in fairness to Andy, I think he raises perhaps one of the biggest problems for Leigh in the fact that when you do look at that squad, if they was to lose a Robbie Bullen, if they was to lose a Joe Offengawa, the depth in front row, I think they're a prop short. I agree with Andy on that. I think if Adrian Lamb can go out and get a really good, solid prop forward, all of a sudden Leigh look complete. They look complete for me. They've got everything across the back line. They've got plenty of depth across the back line. They're covered in the halves. Yes, they want Lamb and Cook, but if one of those goes down, they've got Gareth O'Brien, they've got Ben McNamara. There's no issues. They can cope for a period of time there. They've got good cover now with Liam Horn at 9. The back row is fine. No issues in the back row. It's those props, and that for me, Aaron Penne has got a massive weight on his shoulders because he's logically one of those interchange prop forwards. But Joe, would you agree with me? Owen Trout, in an ideal world, hence why he's got the 12 shirt, better in second row?
Yes, I would. But I just want to put a couple of nuances into this. We've got to remember that certainly for this next season, with the new rule changes that have come in, gone are the days where you need a big pack. You're not
a pack. You need a bit. You need speed.
Right.
It's got a punch.
That's my point. You don't need to have a big pack as long as you've got a pack that can run with enough speed, that creates speed, and weight creates power, and that's what you need. And you need fit props this year, especially. So with that in mind, that debunks the point that some people are saying that Leigh don't have the biggest pack. They don't need to have the biggest pack. They just need to play together and play fast, and that's what Leigh do. That is the crux of how Leigh play. They are very quick around the ruck. They're very quick around everything that they play, and that's going to be their advantage this season. Now, let's have a look now. Right, okay, Owen Trout, you wouldn't put him at prop, but he'll play better at prop this year than he would have done last year if they need him to. But he is a far better second rower. He can play 13 if you need him to, but second row is Owen Trout's position. He does lack a bit of size for prop. Now, I know that goes back against what I've just said, but he isn't a big forward. He's Owen. He's just very strong, and he works hard. His work rate is out of this world. So for a second rower, for a team like Leigh, Owen Trout is the perfect thing. And as well, with Owen looking to go next season to the NRL, that means that he's going to be playing out of his skin to be showing his new employers, if he's going to have some, how good he is. Frankie Holton, what a brilliant player he has been over the past few years. He's going to have a really massive season. Leigh, we talk about things, don't fix what's not broken. Leigh have actually, if you flip it on the other way around, Leigh have actually fixed something that was broken. You've mentioned it, we won't go into it too much. Adam Cook will bring what Leigh needed. We all said if Leigh had a better kicker, you would have, Steph, won far many more games and maybe not lost many at all. So with having Adam Cook in there at 6, that for me is putting a cherry on the cake. Yeah, Davey's right. Having another prop in there would help, especially when it comes to injuries and different things like that. But I think Leigh this year, if anyone can even dream to think of putting them out of the top 6, I think are fools. Leigh this year are going to be higher up that table than maybe many people think. And this might be the highest they've been up that table in a very long time. And if Steph predicts them anything lower than 3rd, I'll be very upset with him.
Well, we'll find that out next week. But coming back to Steph, full circle. You're right, Ethan O'Neill. I was surprised as anybody that Ethan moved over to Leeds. Good acquisition for Leeds. If Ethan can stay fit, I think he showed glimpses. I think he showed last year. I mean, he's a very, very good player. But that said, I'm really, really excited by your new number 15. I think he could be a player. I really, really do. Big unit, good feet. Your thoughts on I'll just call him Alec. Your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he was probably obviously because of how well Ethan played for us, and again as a complete unknown, a bit like the Tom Amon and Kai O'Donnell situation. Ethan was fantastic, and Leigh don't normally get rid of young players that have really proved themselves. That's quite a rarity. So I think a lot of Leigh fans would have been gutted with Ethan O'Neill going. And that Jacob was one of the ones where I was a bit, is it going to be an upgrade? We've only seen him play in the PNG games and also in the friendly at Warrington.
Yeah.
But he showed glimpses. He showed glimpses of what he could do. And I know you picked him out, Dave, in that friendly as someone who played quite well for Leigh. So yeah, this is where there's players like him and Aaron Penne as well. Really does need to step up this year for Leigh. Leigh have hinted that there may be more signings to come if we need them, which is probably where we may get another Joe Afangawe again, mid-season. I do actually agree with Andy, in terms of if we get injuries, but you could say that about most teams, couldn't you? If they get injuries,
but I think front row though, Steph, at the risk of interjecting, mate. I think front row. I think there's a big argument even without injuries that if you got another, and it's easy to say this, but if you got another unit middle forward in the mould of a Robbie Mullen and Offengawe, if you had another one of those, I mean, be interesting how young Oliver goes, who's been out on loan to Salford. Oliver Pollack, he's only 19, so you can't expect too much from him this season. But I think what that one signing, Steph, as a Leopards fan, if you brought in a quality middle unit, all of a sudden, as a Leafy, you've got to be sitting there thinking, "Whoa, now that's the last piece of the jigsaw."
Yeah, I would want them to bring another prop in, but again, let's see how it goes. There's so many unknowns, isn't there? In this season with everyone's squads, it's so early to try and predict it. But if there was, there's been definitely upgrades in the hooker department for Leigh. Hopefully, an upgrade in the 6 department, and that's no disrespect to Gaz O'Brien, who's done a fantastic job. Josh Charnley, I know he's a massive Leigh favourite, but he had his injury last year and then struggled a little bit and wasn't the same as he was in 2024. So I think in his senior could be an upgrade in that department. But if we were to bring any player in at the moment in the League squad, it would be a prop. So I do have to agree with Andy in that respect. But that doesn't mean that there are players in that squad who can step up. And I think Aaron Penne is one. But I remember his debut, I think it was against Leeds away, and he showed glimpses in that game of what he could do, and then never really got up to it through. He had herniated disc similar to what I had. So let's hope we see the best of Aaron Penne this year.
Yeah, and Andy's back in. He says, right, so I call Leigh out, and now you agree. I think you've posted about 100 comments tonight. I've agreed with one, which is basically they need a prop. You've also said they're going to finish outside the top 6. Don't see that. Don't see that at all. Also, Wakey. You believe that Wakey will finish below FC, Warrington, and who was the other one?
Huddersfield.
Yeah, Wakey will finish above at least one of them, maybe even 2. So yeah, like I say, there you go. Is all I would say. But keep it coming, Andy. It's good comedy gold. But anyway,
just on that, sorry, Dave. Just on that, we are acknowledging a weakness in the Leigh side. I think we could acknowledge a weakness in every side.
It's about being balanced. And look, you know me, I'm balanced. At the end of the day, yeah, I'll always call it down the middle. And like I say, of all of Andy's points tonight, that is probably the only one I've said, you know what, fair enough. They do need a prop. I think one quality prop in that team, and all of a sudden you're going, right, every base is covered. At the moment, every base isn't covered. I think they're a prop light. They get that right, and all of a sudden you're going, oh, here we go. I think all the other, I never fancied Alex Tuaki. You know that. I said that to you. I never fancied him. From the moment I first saw him to the moment of his departure, didn't think he was good. He's good enough for Leigh or that section of the league table.
Hang on. We have to acknowledge this one, and I don't like doing it. He likes Leigh, but the backs are old. So David Armstrong's 22, Keenan Brand's 23, Tessie News 23, and Maya Hanley's 24. It was the old one apart from Josh Charnley. Lachlan Lamb's 26.
Yeah, Andy, you've got to be better than that, mate, on Super League.
Jesus.
Get into the detail. Yeah, even he's laughing and all. Anyway, but that's by the by. Andy, it's all in good jest, mate. Keep it coming. It's good fun. It keeps the show going. But there you go. So anyway, Leigh Leopards, great squad. That one little thing that I think they could do with adding, they had that, and it's a different kettle of fish. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how the Leopards run in 2026. We hope you've enjoyed the 3 squad reviews. Only 2 more to go to Lose and KR next week. And of course, next week, it's the pre-season kickoff show. Really looking forward to that. Right, I promise you this. Here it comes. It is back. And it is, of course, the Super League Raw Fantasy League. There's all the details that you need to know. Again, you can play along if you wish, but only the members will be up for the prizes. So the name of the league is Super League Raw 26. The PIN number that you're going to need is 12378. And there's the password. SLR hashtag 2026. The L is not a capital. And yeah, you can join Super League Raw's Mini Fantasy League 2026. And the prizes for this one, equally good. Like I say, we don't expect as many to play this as the prediction league. So this year we've changed the prizes for the Fantasy League. The winner will join us at Club Wembley for the 2027 Challenge Cup final. So that's your top prize in this one. Second prize is a replica shirt. And your third prize is going to be either a Super League Raw bobble hat, beanie, or baseball hat, one of your choice. So different prizes in that one, but the Super League Raw Fantasy League back for 2026. Make sure you join the league now. Like I say, the prizes are only for the members. So what you're waiting for? What are you waiting for? There's never been a better time to become a Super League Raw member. Do the QR code, become a part of the family. You get access to the WhatsApp, get involved in our podcast. The guys will tell you, the people who've joined already, they will tell you it just enhances your rugby league season. It really, really will. I promise you. Come and give it a go. Don't forget what's coming up this week, ladies and gentlemen. First things first. It's going to be me and Craig Lingard tomorrow. That is going to be hitting tomorrow at 7. I just remembered, actually, that's at 7 o'clock tomorrow. So actually, on that basis, we'll do the Wigan one for midday. So Wigan will launch at 12 noon, so you can watch that on your dinner hour. And Championship Rugby League with Craig Lingard. That will air at 7 p.m. tomorrow night on YouTube. So plenty of stuff coming this Wednesday for you in terms of that. I'm at the Super League Raw launch, Super League launch tomorrow in Manchester. So there'll be loads of great content coming from that, from teams that we haven't already heard for. We've been to Warrington, we've been to Saints, we've been to Wigan. We'll be catching up with other people, such as, for example, Paul Rowley, who we've not heard from yet. Mark Applegarth, we'll be getting involved with him as well. More players, more coaches, and we'll make sure we try and cover as many of the other teams as we possibly can while we're down there tomorrow. So this is going to be at 7 tomorrow, and at 12 noon tomorrow, the Wigan Warriors Media Day will be free to all. The members have already had that for a couple of days. Well worth watching. So you've got the Prediction League that's now up and running. Go and join it. Go and get over to Super Brew. Get that one done. You've got the Fantasy League that you can join. More shows coming. Next week, we've got Captain's Run that's coming back. More shows on the way. We've got Instant Reaction, a brand new show straight after the games as well. Again, you can be involved in that. Super League Raw just getting bigger and better all the time. More inclusive than ever before. Don't know where we get the time from, boys, but hey, it's all good fun, isn't it? We will be back next Tuesday, 8 p.m. For Super League Raw Weekly as we look at KR, we look at Toulouse. We'll be making our predictions for the 2026 season and more besides that. As always, if you remember, the after show party is now open. Go over, just use the social link, get yourselves in to the after show party, talk about everything that we've discussed. Are we right? Are we wrong? If you're a member that's joined through YouTube and you haven't got a link for that, you need to email me at info@superleagueraw.com and I will send you the details for that. So there you go. Another week has come and gone. Boys, as always, thank you for your company, and we'll be back next week to do it all again. Bye for now.